introduce yourself to the camera?
I'm Karnas Kushan, not the star of experimental film number 1.
Alright, so I'm going to start recording. So, could you introduce yourself to the camera?
I'm Callum, amazing actor, also student at University of Worcester. Yeah.
So what role did you play in the film?
Honestly, I'm not quite sure. He gave me a camera and told me to look creepy.
Okay, could you just introduce yourself to the camera?
I'm Zion Kirkby.
What's your relationship to the film?
I was in it and I was very hungover.
What character did you play in the film?
I played a guy that did things.
Hello, I am E.R. Frost, writer and director of experimental film number 1.
What did you think of the actual film, the finished cut?
I liked it when it went all rewindy, as the technical people say. I wouldn't know I'm only an actor. But I prefer to watch my films in reverse, actually. So that was a nice surprise. I prefer that sort of non-linear approach, or reverse linearity when I watch a film, because I like to know what happens, and then I like to see how it got to that point. I always read books backwards too. Yeah.
Great. What did you think of the film?
I'm confused, if I'm completely honest. Clearly, Mr. Frost had some form of artistic endeavour with whatever he was trying to create. And I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Somehow, apparently, he did a better movie than I could make. So, whoever judged that was stupid. But, yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand it. And every time I ask him about it, he won't tell me. So...
My favourite part of the film, I think, is, well, I have two. One of them is when the guy runs around the other guy in tornado-like fashion. And the other one is when I'm looking at the sky.
I don't feel like this one was missing much, except maybe there was one scene that is not in the original film that I felt really tied the piece together, which was the bows. They were great. They really even feature another cameo by me. Maybe a man walking his dog was also in the bows.
What would you say is the cultural impact you think experimental film number 1 will have?
I think it's going to change the way that we look at the family structure in this country. I think people aren't expecting the level of, just it goes in hard on our relationship norms. It makes you question who you love.
So there's quite a lot of subtext and a lot of kind of a deeper meaning to your character. A lot of people said they felt like he was holding a secret in. What would you say about that?
I would say, it's up to interpretation. I think he may be. I guess we'll find out.
For those that didn't understand the first shot, I would like to say, maybe you should go back and rewatch it, because I think the more times you watch the film, the more it kind of opens up.
What would you say about your other co-actors on the film?
So one of them, she was interesting. Certainly followed her directions, but to say she matched my talent, it seemed like she thought she was the lead actress in this movie, when clearly I was the lead role. I personally believe it was all centered around me, but anyway, she was fine, whatever. I kind of outshone her, but it was okay. The other one, he started off fine, but I don't think his head was in the role, Zion. He had one key issue, which was I seem to have to help play part of his role in running around me in circles. Couldn't keep up with it. Man needs to learn to follow directions on set, that's all I'm saying.
What do you think about your co-actors? What would you say your relationship's like with them?
They're pretty cool.
What would you say your relationship is with the stars of Experimental Film Number 1?
Politically, we don't see eye to eye, but there's people that are they're okay, I suppose. I tend to stick to my dressing room or my van when I'm working with other people. I like to sort of meditate between takes. I don't really have time to build relationships with the lesser actors. So I think, they're all great. They're doing their bit for the film, but really, ultimately, it comes down to my shoulders to carry it. But they're lovely people, and go watch their film. They need it.
There was some talking of some kind of heated discussions between you and the director, E.R. Frost. What would you say your relationship with that director is?
We do have creative differences sometimes. I think, I wanted to play the character more absent-minded, and he wanted for me to play him more absent-minded, but in a different way. And, but I think at the end of the day, we find common ground.
Interesting. What was the shoot like for you?
Cold, wet. Other than that, it was fine. Yeah, it was an interesting day, certainly, but overall it was fine. I felt like I got to show everyone how much better than them I am and how talented I am as an actor, and I think Frost really saw my potential, and that's why he's calling me back for Experimental Film Number 2. Yeah.
Tell me about what that shoot day was like for you.
I woke up in the morning. I considered not going, but I made a commitment to the team and to the development of the film. So I thought that obviously it would be a good idea to go. And I may have been very hungover, but we made it work, I think.
So, could you tell me about your role in Experimental Film Number 2?
Number 2. Well, I believe I am just providing some insight on the first film, but I can't disclose much more than that. It's quite a secret project, you see. But I think I'll be sort of a vessel that the audience can relate to and how they felt about the first film. Yeah.
So you are scheduled to appear in Experimental Film Number 2. Could you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, well, I have no idea what the film's going to be like.
Yeah, I mean, everyone that was in the film was great, of course, some better than others. Especially Callum Littlewood, actor. He has been called back for Experimental Film Number 2 under the role of Callum. So I think we'll all be excited to see what he brings to the table in that one.
All I know is I agreed to it after having, I believe, several pints. So that's when all the best decisions are made. He keeps scamming me when I'm in the most vulnerable scenarios, you see, and then I'm yet to be paid for any of it. I don't think I'm getting paid for this.
I can't say much about Experimental Film Number 2, only though I think it has the potential to be the greatest cinematic outing of all time.
So there's rumbles that you are not returning for Experimental Film Number 2. Would you care to comment on that?
That is true. I think I'm not returning because of creative differences in the team.
Clearly, I outshone my competition. If anything, I personally would say Experimental Film Number 1 was something of an audition for Experimental Film Number 2. Hopefully, I think. I still don't quite get it yet.
What would you say is different about working with Frost and other directors?
Well, I'd say I'm never normally terrified of other directors when I work with them. In fact, I usually treat them like human garbage. But he commands a sort of authority and respect similar to a naval captain of the 18th century. And I just find that particularly charming. He's very Regal, very, I don't know, he knows what he's talking about, and if I were to choose a leader, say in a sort of post-apocalyptic environment, who could, stand up and take charge, it would be Mr. Frost. He just has such a unique vision. And again, as someone who likes to consume media in reverse, his sort of non-linear style, it speaks to me on an emotional level, an artistic level, a human level, I'd say. Yeah, he's just E.R. Frost. You can't put him in a box, okay, people. He built the box, and then smashed it with a hammer, and then rebuilt it again. But it's not really a box anymore. It's like a pyramid. Yeah. It's E.R. Frost, people.
Do you have any other projects you'd like to talk about?
I think I may be landing a role in soon.
Any other projects I'd like to speak about? Well, I am working on another film, but as I've been told by E.R. Frost, I'm only allowed to promote him and him alone. So I cannot tell you about anything. Please help me. Seriously. I've been held here against my will. There are two people behind this camera. They are both pointing guns at me. Please help me. Help.
Do you have any other projects you'd like to talk about?
I've recently started my own charity organisation. The funds directly come to me. I need them desperately. I owe a lot of money to a lot of people, but that is a matter for another time. So you can find it on my website if you'd like to donate.
Great. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you for interrogating me and bringing me in today. I'm happy to discuss the E.R. Frost franchises whenever you need me to.